Hello everybody, thank you for joining us. Today we're going to draw Krusty the Clown from The Simpsons. We're doing a head and shoulders shot for this very popular character from the show. So shoulders probably around there. We'll need some room for his head because he has that hair that sticks out. So let's do an oval right there for the head. And of course we'll have the hair going somewhat like that and somewhere there. So there must be, like, there are very popular images of Krusty the Clown online, but so eyes, nose, and mouth. And shoulders right here, and the neck somewhere right there. So Krusty the Clown, we'll just sketch some details while we speak about this character. One of the most favorites of the producers themselves on The Simpsons. Of course, it was brainstormed by the great Matt Groening and made into a pretty much a household name. But there were a lot of things going on that defined Krusty on the screen that we saw eventually. But of course the producers had a little bit of back and forth with this character of how they wanted to portray him, or what aspects they wanted to highlight. So Krusty has, when he laughs particularly, I think that it's deliberate. He has this cockeyed look to it that is genuinely funny to behold every time it happens. So we're doing him in his routine smiling pose. So Krusty is he debuted in 1989. Let's put that white smile and that traditional Simpsons, I guess we could call it a beard shade, just like Homer has. And we'll get to Krusty and Homer's history in a second as well, but Krusty is a favorite of the Simpsons kids who religiously watch his episodes and find the clown indispensably hilarious. And he is. He's also obnoxious. He loves money, and one episode actually even featured him playing with money and becoming a little indifferent as soon as the camera, as soon as he went off air, and he was smoking and just going about his routine, which showed that he couldn't care less. But that is the life of a showman, and that's how they portrayed it. He has a Jewish heritage, which they have hinted to several times in the show. So that is the core sketch that we have, and if you Google images you'll find these rather easily. So we're just going to outline the good old clown here. I actually forgot a little sagging detail under the eye there and there, because he has those. I'm sure he does. And then of course we have Homer, as we mentioned. So Homer was actually hinted at being in a certain angle. Well, then of course it never made to television, but they wanted to perhaps add a little dimension to the whole Krusty the Clown thing by having him as Homer himself in disguise. But then they decided that yes, it would really, convolute things, make it a very complicated angle, and so they decided to let it go. But they did still take a jab at this in the episode when Homer trains to become a clown. He actually, when he gets around to putting on his makeup and his getup, people actually mistake him for Krusty. So there's that angle. It was very funny. So those lines have just finished off the primary sketch. Krusty has just a shade of beige going there, because I think they're hinting that he's wearing makeup because his arms are traditionally like yellow, which hints at the skin tone of the characters. But his what we call Krusty is like mostly beige, and that is because he is wearing makeup, and there's just a slightly varying tone in the beard shade here, and we will try to make that closer to what the show has as soon as I can just chisel this pencil a little bit that I do need. So Krusty debuted in 1989, and he's voiced by the brilliant Dan Castellaneta, who of course voices several other characters on the show, but Krusty is definitely one of the more brilliant depictions. Krusty's voice set and tone was based on Bozo the Clown's tone. Bozo the Clown was a very popular character from the early 80s. But the voice differs because Dan did one step above and actually brought in a gravelly tone to Krusty's voice. Very hard to voice, and of course it took a lot of concentration and a lot of stretching of the vocals to bring this about, but they did manage to do it wonderfully. Now Krusty's hair is essentially not green, it's turquoise. This tone I think we actually got pretty close to what we have on the show, but we do not have the green nails yet. So if we don't have that mix of the exact colors, we'll try to blend something else in there so that it might become somewhat like turquoisey. I think it's getting even more green there. Sorry, we forgot. And if we just first throw some of that in and then try to put this, but the idea is that his hair is turquoisey and not blue. He has a blue tie, and he has a light purple scheme about his, we will say, his shirt. So the light purple, we will just grab some other color here and just try to do one goodbye Krusty the Clown. And of course Krusty the Clown's hilarious clash with his on-off relationship with Sideshow Bob. Another awesome angle on The Simpsons that should not be missed. So we will just throw some tones in to get the turquoise in the hair right, and then we will just do an added dimension with some little brown on the edges of the eyes and of the head, just to give it a second tone, because although the portrayal of the characters in the show is just like one flat color, but since we are just trying to do this as a quick sketch, and in pencil, the two contrasting tones really stand out, and they work very well to give it a slightly different touch and feel to the final outcome of the drawing. So thank you for watching. If you haven't checked Krusty the Clown out, please do. It is essential television for all ages, and yes, most definitely a funny take on all the societal jabs that we see the Simpsons executes so well. So please subscribe and keep in touch. We put out content pretty much every day, so please do keep watching. Have yourself a wonderful day.